Hey everyone, it's me, Patchdam Bogat. Today we're gonna actually do another lesson when it comes to the pacts, or better yet, I like to call them like the promises that we have with our particular daemon. I mean, you could call it whatever you want, but I noticed one thing is for sure. When you work with your particular daemon, your patron, your spirit guide, um, a lot of people may be frustrated on how they're able to receive their particular manifestation. Because what I'm trying to say is that people get so caught up with the timing, they get caught up on how it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, falls underneath time. But nonetheless, it proves a very important point that we are severely lacking knowledge on our own part. Because to me, from my experiences dealing with Satan, um, he's a type of being that knows things that I can't possibly know. And mind you, this is because of spirit beings like that of our patron, Satan, or whatever it is that you're working with, planetary spirits. They look at time a lot more differently. You probably heard of the expression that a season is like 1,000 years to them, or 1,000 years rather is more of a season for them. So, in other words, time itself is not really affected by these beings. Or better yet, it doesn't affect them in such a way where they're worried or they feel rushed the same way a human being feels that way. Because if 1,000 years is but a season to them, it's a short amount of time that they're able to equivalent everything into the physical. So, in other words, we have to look at it through their viewpoint. Step out of yourself for a second and stop worrying too much about the timing. Because if a daemon or your patron spirit guide is trying to help you to align you with whatever it is that you've asked for, especially if it's could be any type of spell, a prosperity spell, and probably heard me say it before, like some sort of love spell, but I like to call it a lust spell. Any type of magic that we're doing, either be ritualistic and you're making like a change in your life, it's going to take time. So the timing on our own part and our understanding of it is actually off. So in other words, let things fall into place. Let things basically um, just work the way it should. See, in other words, it is what it is. Don't start labeling it. Don't say um, like it has to be successful in this one way, because now you're limiting yourself and you're causing resistance to yourself, and now you have to work on that because that's something that you don't want to do. And then, so as opposed to that, if you just let things be, either be a negative result or positive result, you just envelop within it, especially when it's negative. And what I mean by negative, you're probably looking at your watch and you're like, it's been X amount of time. Well, if you have been exercising patience, you've been exercising how daemons work, and you develop that trust, and that's what Satan does specifically to each and every one of us that choose to work with them, or any of the Goetia. They want to develop that trust in every single one of us. So when we go through that certain darkness and we've experienced that they're not necessarily punishing us, it's not sadistic, by nature, that they're doing these things to us, it's really by our growth, self development. Then you start to develop the mindset that by law, okay, by law, what's mandated is that they feel obliged in actually making the promises or the pact that they say they're going to do to come to its fruition so you can finally experience it. But of course, when we think about pacts, you also want to do your end of the bargain. You don't want to just sit there do nothing. You don't want to just not work in accordance of it. So make sure you're doing that. Either the that particular patron or daemon is asking for whatever offering, make sure you do it. See, put up your end of the bargain. See, it makes the process a lot more smoothly, and always be open for suggestion and learning from that particular daemon. Because think of it this way: those within the Goetia, there actually have been so demonized, so harshly seen as just being evil, that if you do some research on most of the Goetia, a lot of them in ancient times were goddesses, gods. They literally Okay, they literally helped mankind and civilizations to do just about anything. I would do some research on, the Watchers and how the particular daemon like Azazel and others really did help civilizations, and yet they've been maligned. They've been destroyed. But the point of bringing up just that small little history lesson should serve a good forewarning for you. The fact that they are all about teaching. I mean, for crying out loud, they help civilizations prosper, develop. There was no other way for them to get to this point, but for them to basically evolve. I don't know about you. I know I've done a lot of developing on my part, and I've evolved. And I've learned so much from Satan. I mean, it took a while for me to get rid of lingering doubt and all the BS that's already out there about him to begin with. But that's through a lot of work on my own end, so that I can make the process a lot more smoothly. Because think about it, how smoothly you think it's going to be if you're too busy thinking about this daemon is going to lie to you because of the BS that's already out there. That's why it's so important to develop that relationship with them so that you can better understand. And the more you understand, the darkness is not as bad as people say it is. I mean, you're going to get trained, and through that training, it's going to have its consequence in a sense of not so much like it's going to hurt in a physical sense, but more internal, emotionally. But it's not being done to you because, again, they're not being sadistic. You're learning from it. But if you really think about it, the pact that you're with, that you've learned, alongside this daemon, it's not there to their own benefit because the way I see it, it's like from my own personal experience when I was first working with Satan, I kind of thought like, what if I've been tricked? What if, the thought was put in my head to pretty much work with him, so I could just be abused by this daemon. But over time, seeing that a daemon, it just doesn't make sense because they don't get anything out of it. Despite Abrahamic teachings about these daemons that all they want to do is destroy mankind. Well, not only is that wrong, it just goes beyond good reason that they would do such a thing, because why would they want to do that if they don't benefit? They don't get anything out of it. I mean, granted, they may want to experience human delicacies like through your food offering and what it's like to taste food. But other than that, if you really spend time with your Patreon, you're gonna realize they're not petty. It's not the whole idea that we take when we learn about an astral parasite, where all they get out of it is that negative feelings from you and the emotions. It's just one of those things where you honestly need to educate yourself and allow the daemon to do the teaching. Allow them to do that so that you could be inspired through their inspiration to do research. I mean, for example, I remember when I was first starting out, I wrote down many dreams and what these particular dreams meant to me. I was flabbergasted by, under inspiration from Satan, going to a particular website, seeing exactly, let's say, and this is randomly just picking any topic. It could be like a color of a particular flower, or what was the color of the sky. Did you feel positive about it? Was you lukewarm about it? Whatever it is, there's tons of information that's out there that resonates with you. That's first and foremost, and you're able to make application of it, and it makes it that much easier on the message that was pretty much meant to be tailor made for you. Because keep in mind, we're all different. We receive information differently, and that's what it's all about. Because when I see a raven or a crow, to me, it's a lot more different than what someone else would perceive them to be. Because to me, that's almost like a higher self to me. Being the fact that a raven or a crow, to me, it means the practicing of black magic. It means death. And being the fact that I take a darker path, that's nothing but positive vibes that I get from that, not negative. So, with that said and done, in summary, please do understand that the daemon is obliged to do their end of that promise or that pact, and you also should feel that way too, and that should help you to understand that when you work with a particular daemon that's as strict and forthright as Satan, don't take it personal, man. What you want to do is develop from it, learn, and see the solution. Don't build negativity around it. So if you like this channel and you like the video that I'm producing, please hit the like button and subscribe as well. So if you do that, I'm able to produce more videos to help you guys out. All right, I love you all. Thank you, and you have a wonderful day.